It was supposed to be a quiet season in my life. Just me, my garden, my books, and the silence of a house that had grown far too used to being empty. I thought I was safe inside that rhythm, hidden away from the world, protected by my own distance. But the night he walked through my door, carrying nothing but a small duffel bag and a smile that carried both warmth and danger, I did not realize my carefully built walls were about to fall. It all began on a wet Thursday evening, when the sky poured rain heavy enough to drown out thought. Camille, my dearest friend and former roommate, had finally left for Paris. She was chasing a month-long artist residency she had dreamed of for years. Before she boarded her plane, she had asked me for a favor, one that seemed simple enough at the time. She wanted me to give her son a place to stay until his apartment was ready. His name was Adrian. He was 24, tall, with an easy calm that made you believe he belonged wherever he stood. At first, I hesitated. It had been years since I had allowed anyone to share my home, let alone a man. After my last relationship crumbled, I had promised myself I would not make space for someone who was only going to leave. I had stopped reaching, stopped hoping, stopped inviting anyone into the parts of me that ached most. My life had become a pattern of quiet survival, and I had convinced myself I liked it that way. But then came the knock. He stood in the rain, his clothes damp, his hair dripping just enough to make him look undone. He smiled, lifted his duffel bag like an offering, and said, "Good evening, Miss Alara. I hope I am not intruding." I remember laughing, soft and almost nervous. "No, Adrian. You are not intruding. I have not had a man under this roof for a very long time." He grinned, the kind of grin that carried both youth and mischief. "Then I will tread carefully," he said. That night, he cooked for me. Garlic butter salmon, rice, and vegetables. He told me it was the one recipe he had mastered in college. The smell filled my kitchen with something I had not felt in years, not just warmth but life. I sat across from him, listening to the quiet rhythm of his voice as he asked about my plants, about the books stacked on my shelves. He told me about his music, about how he loved capturing the world in sound. Hours slipped away unnoticed, and when I finally walked toward my bedroom, I paused to listen to his laugh echoing from the guest room. That night, I fell asleep with the strange awareness that I was no longer alone. The days that followed blurred into something dangerously soft. We woke almost at the same time every morning. I would enter the kitchen, robe tied loosely at my waist, only to find him already there, shirtless, stirring eggs or pouring coffee. Always coffee. "Morning," he would whisper, his voice thick with sleep, his smirk lingering on me a little longer than it should. We did not speak of the way he sat closer on the couch, or how his knee brushed against mine during late-night movies. We did not speak of the way his eyes lingered on me when he thought I was not looking. Instead, we laughed. We baked cookies at midnight. We played cards by candlelight when the power went out. He told me about a girl who had broken his heart, about how she never really saw him. I told him about how I had once believed love was permanent, until the man I trusted most proved me wrong. One night, when the storm cut out the lights again, he brought a flashlight to my room. "Do you want some company?" he asked. I should have said no. I should have protected myself. But instead, I nodded. He sat at the edge of my bed, the soft glow illuminating the sharp lines of his jaw, the steady rhythm of his breath. We spoke for hours, and in the safety of that darkness, I confessed things I had never dared say aloud. "I used to think I was hard to love," I whispered. His gaze locked on mine, steady, unwavering. "You are not hard to love," he said. "You have just been loving alone for too long." The silence after that was thick, heavy, unspoken but undeniable. I shifted, my robe slipping slightly off my shoulder. His eyes traced the bare skin without shame, without hesitation. "You are beautiful," he whispered, and something inside me cracked open. I leaned forward before I could stop myself. Our lips met, soft at first, questioning. Then deeper, hungrier, but not rushed. His hands cradled my face like something fragile, sacred. When we finally pulled away, our foreheads rested together, both of us breathless, both of us changed. That night he stayed, not in lust, not in haste, but simply in closeness. Fully clothed, his arm wrapped around me, my head on his chest, as the storm outside raged against the windows. For the first time in years, I slept without loneliness pressing into my bones. The next morning, nothing was said, and yet everything was different. He made me coffee, brushing my hair from my face with a tenderness that was too deliberate to be casual. I felt seen. Not as someone aging, not as someone left behind, but as a woman still worthy of love. The days turned into weeks. He was no longer just a guest in my home. He was part of it, part of me. He fixed things around the house without asking. He kissed the back of my neck while I cooked. He lifted my legs into his lap when we watched old films. Sometimes he took photographs of me doing the simplest things, and later, he would show me those photos and whisper, "You have no idea how breathtaking you are when you are not trying." One night, the boundary broke completely. Our kisses deepened, our hands searching, our bodies finding each other in the shadows. He undressed me slowly, reverently, as though each piece of fabric was a barrier he longed to remove. And when we made love, it was not frantic or careless. It was slow, deliberate, sacred. Every touch was a promise. Every sigh was a confession. That night, I wept quietly, not from shame, but from the weight of finally being held, truly held, after so long. But love never stays hidden for long. One Saturday, Camille called. She had returned early from Paris. The air shifted instantly. Our fragile world trembled under the weight of reality. I told Adrian perhaps it was time for him to return to his place, just for a while. He did not argue. He only looked at me with sadness so raw it nearly undid me. "You are scared," he said softly. "And maybe I should be too. But I am not. Because I have never wanted something this real before." When he left, my house fell back into silence. But it was not the same silence as before. It was heavier, lonelier, haunted by the sound of his laughter, the warmth of his touch, the space he had filled in my bed. For weeks I tried to pretend, but every night I turned over and left space for him. And then, one evening, there was a knock at the door. It was Adrian. His eyes were steady, his hands trembling slightly. "I do not care what people think," he said. "I care how I feel when I am with you. And I have never felt more myself than when I am in your arms." I reached for him, pulled him inside, and kissed him like I was no longer afraid. I had always thought love would arrive when I was young, wrapped in a neat package with a ring, a wedding, a home with matching sinks. But sometimes love comes late. Sometimes it comes in a form you never expected. Sometimes it is forbidden, fragile, and yet undeniable. And sometimes it walks into your life one rainy night, carrying only a duffel bag and a smile, and stays to rewrite the rest of your story. Have you ever loved someone you were not supposed to? Someone who shook the foundation of your quiet life and made you believe again? Tell me in the comments below. And if this story touched you, give it a like, share it with someone who still believes in love's power to break rules, and do not forget to subscribe for more stories that speak to the hidden places of the heart.